In New York State, a person who brings a lawsuit is entitled to different forms of compensation for injuries received in an accident. Now, in the case that I had involving the man who had his fingers cut off, I brought a lawsuit and sought compensation for his pain and suffering, for his loss of earnings, for his medical expenses, and I also brought a cause of action on behalf of his wife for what's called loss of services or loss of consortium. Now, pain and suffering. Pain and suffering is exactly what it sounds like, what the pain and the suffering that the client endured as a result of the injuries. Now, pain and suffering is both for past pain and suffering, meaning from the date of the incident till the date of the settlement, and for future pain and suffering, okay, for the amount of suffering that he will endure for the rest of his life. Now, lost earnings. Lost earnings is how the injuries affects the client's ability to earn a living. And how do we prove that? Well, in this case, I hired an expert, an economist, who was able to figure out what the loss of earnings was for my client. And now, medical expenses. Since my client's fingers were cut off, he had many, many medical bills that cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And what we did is we brought an action for the medical expenses. And because of his injuries, my client had to receive medical treatment for the rest of his life due to his injuries. And that is another thing that we brought a cause of action for and sought compensation for, was his medical expenses. Now, I also mentioned that I brought a cause of action on behalf of his wife for what's called loss of services, loss of consortium. What is that? Well, in New York State, a spouse can bring an action for the injuries that they suffered as a result of her husband's injury. And what those injuries are is her husband is not the same person that he was before the incident, before his fingers were cut off. He couldn't take out the garbage anymore. He couldn't cook. He couldn't drive. So what we did is the wife is able to bring a cause of action for that, for her injuries as a result, for her losses as a result of her husband's injuries. I was able to get the insurance company to offer a substantial amount of money for my client that compensated him and his family both for his injuries, for his past, and into the future. Now, why am I telling you this? Because obviously you have questions, and I have answers. I can answer your questions. So pick up the phone, call me at the number below, and I will answer your questions. Again, my name is Nicholas Waryowda. I'm with the law office of Parker Waichman. Give me a call. Thank you for watching.